when we emotionally eat, what we're doing is we're eating to feel something. Or very often we're eating to stop feeling something. Something is coming up and we don't want to feel it anymore. And the interesting things about memories and emotions is that we've now determined through some of the work of Candace Pert and some of the other great scientists that memories and emotions are actually linked together. That your memories actually, that your emotions, when you have an emotion, it's almost like you're washing your brain with a certain chemical. And what happens is that all of the memories associated with that emotion are going to pop up. So a silly example might be, if you have a child or a spouse, then you've been very angry at someone at some point in your life. And when you get very angry with them, it's like your brain is washed with anger. And have you ever noticed that in that moment, you can list absolutely everything they ever did wrong? Everything. Like there is stuff coming out and in your head you're thinking to yourself, I didn't even know I knew that. And I'm the garbage and the this and the this and the this. And it's like you're washed with this. And if I said to you in that moment, tell me something good they did last week, you would actually have to stop yourself, refocus to tell me something good. Because in that moment, you've just unlocked the Mad at Jamie file, right? Because you're feeling that emotion. Same thing if we did the opposite, right? Same thing happens with good emotions. When you're feeling happy, if I came in and said, oh, he didn't take the garbage out last week, can you believe? You would say to me, you know, he's such a good guy. Really? Can you believe I made such a big... You can't come up with all the things that made you angry. Your emotions are linked to your memories. Well, that's just something that happens to us in normal daily life. Kind of neat to know now, because if you're getting really, really mad at somebody and you wonder why, know that that's possibly what's happening is linked to that emotions. But we're also here, when we have large things happen to us that are very, very emotional, they tend to really make quite an imprint on our brain. We know that's part of how our brain stores our memories, linked to large emotions. And universal law, and the people who study these kind of things believe that we are going to keep being brought back to that emotion until we can heal that. So I don't know if anyone's ever noticed that you probably have a something, we all have a something, an emotion that comes up, that you keep running into situations that bring that emotion back up. A very similar emotion. You're not sure why. There's that thing again. There's someone doing that to me again. So you quit that job and you go to the next job. Now that guy's doing that to me, right? You leave one boyfriend, now your son maybe is doing to you. Whatever that emotion is, you're fine. We all have one. It's cyclical. Okay, whether that be abandonment or whatever that is, it seems to keep coming up over and over, a very similar feeling. The situation's not the same, the form's not the same, but if you tap inside, you notice the emotion is the same. So here's what happens very often with emotional eating. I'm going to draw another wave, okay? So a situation comes up. We want to feel neutral. Our bodies are keeping us there. Neutral, I don't mean stagnant, we want to feel nothing. What I mean is really, really high, really, really low emotions, our bodies tend to regulate because they're not good for us. So what ends up happening is you run into a situation that brings in a very, very, very low emotion and you start to go down into that emotion. Okay, there's value in going to that emotion. We can talk about that another time, but you start going down into that emotion. And what happens? Things start to unlock in your brain, right? And you start to feel bad, like dread, whatever that feeling is, you could start to feel it coming on. You might not go all the way back to the first time you felt it, but you start to feel it coming on. And something inside you goes, no way, not feeling that, not happening today. And what's the fastest way to feel better? Eat. So you eat. And up you go. Now, the reason that it doesn't work is because you haven't actually balanced the emotion. So what you tend to do at that point is you tend to start another cycle. Because what do you usually do after you realize you've eaten? You beat yourself up, right? Now you feel bad. And now we go back down. Okay? So in life, what we tend to do, whether it's, again, shopping or eating or whatever it is that your thing is, you tend to have, most of us have one, maybe two on the outside. Real core emotions that we don't like to feel make us really, really uncomfortable. And they come up cyclically. Some people will say to me every night. Some people will say to me once a month no matter what. Some people say to me every January. Just so you know, January's coming. January's a bad month for me. Every January I feel so-and-so. Okay, but we all have cycles. So somehow in a cycle, we tend to bring up these emotions. And when they come up, rather than knowing how to dissolve them, what we do is we eat. And that's the source of the emotional eating. Okay? True emotional eating. I don't mean I'm trying to celebrate and so I had 2 glasses of wine. I mean the emotional eating that takes over. So there is a way to dissolve it, but the only way to really dissolve it so it's gone, what I can promise you is that this cycle of your body balancing itself, you can't override. They've done an interesting study, and do you know what happens to 98% of the people who have their stomach stapled because they overeat? They develop another addiction. 98% develop another addiction. You think maybe they should put that on the disclaimer before they do it? And why? Because they haven't gotten rid of the root of why they're eating. They just can't eat anymore because they'll throw up. So they drink, or they smoke, or they do something else. They haven't healed the root of the emotion.